All right, so we're off and recording. Um, so like I said, we're going to have a different set of circumstances, but there's a couple of updates that I want to give you as we start off this second semester, and hopefully you can see them on the screen. One is that College Board over Christmas break sent out an announcement that they're actually going to drop the last 2 units from the exam starting this year, and they're going to be dropping it from the curriculum basically from this point forward. And the reason is it's difficult to cover all the material in 1 year, and waves and electricity are both also covered in AP2. So we generally cover the basics of waves and the basics of electricity, and then in AP2 you go into much more detail. But they're just saying it's not really necessary to do that intro. So the downside is, for those of you that never end up having a chance to take AP2, then you never get to learn about waves and electricity. But what my plan is we take the AP exam pretty early in May. And so what we'll do is just after the exam, we'll cover those at least a little bit. That way, if you never take AP2, you'll at least have some basic knowledge about those 2 topics. And if you do take AP Physics 2, you'll have that baseline to help you be more, more successful in that class. The good news is we don't have to get that covered before the exam. So we have more time to review other things. And I'll be showing you what that means and how that relates to our timing for this semester here in a few minutes. The other thing that I want to update you on is that now our classes, it was just kind of 2. We had everybody on Zoom, and then we had the international students who couldn't join Zoom that I was recording for. Now we really have 4 groups of students because we've got you guys are Cardinal, so you're here on Cardinal days, and then a few of you are going to be here Friday for Gold days, so that's 2 different on-campus groups. And then there's another group of you that live locally but won't be coming on campus. And then there's the international students who are very remote and can't come on campus, and most of the time can't join Zoom either because it's in the middle of the night for them. And so whichever group you find yourself in, make sure that whether you're attending live through Zoom, live in person, or watching the video, that you listen really carefully to the instructions and take note of what you need to do and when you need to do it and how you need to turn things in. Because at times, some of the assignments will be slightly different for any one of these groups. So I just want to emphasize that we have a little more variety. And so it's for what we're doing today and the next couple class periods is, I think, pretty straightforward. But there are going to be times when, for instance, one group may be doing something entirely different than the other. So just listen really close and ask questions if you get lost. I'll try to make it as clear as I can. So any questions about either the exam or just anything else as we start off this new semester? From you guys here or anybody in the Zoom room, you can just unmute and holler out if you have a question. Nothing yet? All right, seeing some heads shaking on the screen as well. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bigger so I can see your faces better. You guys can still see that okay, can't you? All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about is just what we're going to try to do today. And today's lesson is designed to review balanced versus unbalanced forces. So hopefully you remember, when forces are balanced, what does that mean in terms of acceleration?
It's constant.
It's constant, and it's also
Zero,
right? Yeah, if the forces are balanced, there's no acceleration. And so that's something to keep in mind. And then if there are unbalanced forces, there will be an acceleration. And so these 2 exercises is what we're going to be working on today. And after I introduce them, you 3 will be actually doing the hands-on portion. The ones that are coming Friday on Gold Day, you'll be doing the hands-on portion then. And then the ones that never can come to campus, I got a simulation with rubber bands that I'm going to have you try to do to still get that same experience as best you can. And then the second activity is, and that first one is called Feelings in an Elevator. They're both elevator related topics. So that first one is Feelings in an Elevator. It's kind of like a little mini lab. And you'll all be able to, whether you're here or at home, have some opportunity to try to simulate something with actual objects. The materials you'll need for that are in Unit 6 under Topics on Canvas. For you guys, I have print copies for you. And for those of you coming on Gold Day, I have print copies for you as well. The second one is elevator video analysis. It's also in the topics for Unit 6. And it is going to be watching someone that's riding an elevator. And while they're riding the elevator, they're standing on a scale and they're videotaping it. And you can hear a little bit. It's kind of hard to hear, so you may want to wear headphones when you're doing it. But you can hear some of it like floor 4 going up or floor 6 going down. And so you can kind of hear what's going on, and you can see how the bathroom scale changes. And then you're going to be asked a lot of questions and be drawing some free body diagrams when they're moving up, when they're moving down, when they're sitting still. And so that's that activity. These two activities are designed to be done today and Friday. So the first two class periods. So the video analysis you can do whether you're on campus or off campus. It doesn't really matter. There's no need to be on campus for that. So for you guys, you'll focus more on that Friday when you're not here. And so for you guys that are on Zoom, you may want to focus on that one today, or if you're never going to be able to be on campus, you can just do either one of them in either order. They're both due next Monday before midnight. So I'm going to give you some specifics about both of these exercises, but I just wanted to make sure you knew that there's two things, because this is another way it's going to be different because we've got Cardinal and Gold. It's going to be like most of our lessons are going to be spread over 2 class periods. So it may feel a little bit awkward at times, but I'd be giving instructions one day and then spending basically 2 class periods to get it all done. And it's a little awkward, but we'll manage it. And if you ever have questions or you're confused about it, please do let me know. I want to make sure that you're very clear on what to do. So what I'd like to do now is go to Axis and show you these 2 exercises with a little more detail. And then for you guys, you'll just start doing it. And for the rest of you, you'll have time to work on either one of them in any order. They're just both due next Monday. Okay, so let me go to Axis and give you a little bit of info on that. All right, and the owl generally tries to follow me around, so I don't know, you can, eventually if I come back here, you might be able to see some of your classmates that are in class here today, so you can wave and say hi to everybody. So we've got on Axis here, you can see on the bulletin board pages, one thing I want to point out on the bulletin board page, if you scroll down near the bottom under the news section, you can see down here at the very bottom, Logger Pro download. You do not have to download Logger Pro, but if you want to, the data for the video analysis, I have it in a PDF form, but I also have it in a Logger Pro data form. So if you want to go to download here, click that. If you're using Windows or Mac, it's got links for where you can go to download it, and then the instructions for installing it. Our school, Oaks, has a site license, so this is the information I received from the IT people. So you can download Logger Pro and use that if you'd like. It's just right there at the bottom of the bulletin board page. Now for these actual assignments, under topics, Unit 6, at the very top, there's some unbalanced forces screencasts and PowerPoints. That would be great for you to go back and just review. Watch the screencasts, go through the PowerPoints, and it's just an opportunity for you to review some of the things we learned first semester. And actually, let me go back one screen and highlight something in regards to the exam being changed. So if you look at what we've covered, we basically covered everything up through 6. There's a few topics in 6 that we didn't have time to cover fully. So I would like to spend a couple of weeks maybe revisiting a couple things in 5A and 5B, and then revisiting a few things in Unit 6. And I think we may actually go ahead and have a force test once we're done with that review, because once we're done with that, we only have Unit 7 and Unit 8 to cover, and then that's it. The last 2 units aren't going to be on the exam anymore. So since we have so little to cover, I do want to go back and spend some more time on forces. So that's kind of a quick overview. So we won't be jumping right into Unit 7 directly like I expected. We're going to spend some time reviewing, because forces are a key concept, and we might as well take the time. So anyway, back to today. If you look on the topic for Unit 6, right here you can see feelings in the elevator, document, and PDF. And once we get started, guys, your paper copies are over here and you'll just grab them when you're ready to go. Okay. You can either print it, you can complete it online. We're going to still do submission of all activities and assignments on Axis. I think it'd just be really confusing and awkward to be getting some of it in person and some of it on Axis. And so everything will still just be due on Axis like we did last semester, whether you come on campus or not. Okay, so you can complete it in any manner. If you do come on campus, I do have printed copies for you. And so basically in this one, I'll just open it up. If you click on the feelings in an elevator, I won't read you all the questions, but you can read it yourself. But on the first page, it's mostly hypotheses and predictions. Like, think back of a time when you were on an elevator. How did you feel at different times? Okay, so you'll answer these questions. And then when you get to the second page, it says, okay, now obtain a 50-gram mass and a 100-gram spring balance. So for you guys, the 50-gram masses are just these little black things here, and the scales are here in these boxes. Let me come closer to the camera so those of you that are coming Friday will have a little bit of a preview here. If it'll zoom in on me, catch my voice here, maybe I'm too close. Come over here, does that help? Okay, so there's the spring scale. Now it's trying to move and find me. Okay, here we go. Here's the spring scale. It's having a hard time. And then here is, this is the weight over here. So hopefully I can get it. There we go. All right, so that's what you'll be using Friday. If you can't come onto campus, just use a rubber band and something you can attach to the rubber band. All right, and basically what you're going to be doing is putting the weight on there, and you'll see it's measured in grams. For those of you here in class, if it's not zeroed in, you just actually grab this metal tab on the top and you move it around until it gets zeroed in. It's just kind of a very simple analog device. And what you're going to be doing is simulating an elevator ride. So you'll hold it maybe down close to the floor, and it's stationary, and then the elevator takes off, goes at a constant speed, and then comes to a stop. And what you're watching is, what does this little tab do? When does it go up? When does it go down? When does it stay the same? And then you're going to simulate a downward elevator ride. So you'll start up top, and you'll have the elevator drop, and then come to a stop. And you're just watching, what does this do? Okay, and then you're just answering the questions. Does it seem like it's heavier or lighter? Is it going up? Is it going down? And you'll just be answering the questions. If you're at home and doing this with a rubber band and some other object, you won't have a scale. So unless you want to design something yourself that has a sort of scale, which you can, I would just have you observe, when does the rubber band stretch? Because that's what's really happening here, is this is stretching the spring or relaxing the spring. So when does the rubber band stretch? When does the rubber band relax? And when is the rubber band sort of in that middle ground? Okay, so that's how you'll do it on the at-home version. And that is feelings in the elevator, first activity. So any questions about that activity? All right. And for you guys on Zoom, just unmute. I'm staring at you all the time up here. So just unmute, wave your hand, something. You're on a big screen, so we can see you pretty good. And obviously you guys in here, just speak up. So back onto the Axis page. The second activity is elevator video analysis. You can go to the YouTube link right here and watch the video. And you can see it's a person standing on a bathroom scale and they're riding up and down the elevator. This is the one where I'm saying you'll want to be able to hear the sound, and you're going to probably want headphones on to make out what they're saying, because the audible clues actually could help you quite a bit as to whether it's going up or whether it's going down. All right, so there's the video. I also included the movie file, so if you'd rather just download the movie file and watch it as opposed to watching it on YouTube, it might be a little bit better quality, I'm not sure. And then there's the document and the PDF form here. Print forms over here for you guys. And this one you won't need any materials other than the video and the document. So you can do this at any time. And on Gold Day, when the students come in on Gold Day Friday, I'll basically just be giving a quick, hey, take attendance, a couple reminders, don't forget these things are due. And then we'll be having the Gold students do what you guys are doing today, they'll be doing it, and the rest of you just be working on either one of these assignments. Let's see, that one doesn't seem to want to load. Let me try again. There we go. All right. So when you open up this elevator, I think it says elevator lab. The print version says elevator video analysis. So I may adjust this to match. I think it was just a slightly older version. But you're going to be answering some questions. You're going to be putting in some information from what you see on the video, describing whether the person's weight is equal to, greater than, or less than the normal when they're going up, at rest, going down. So be filling that in. And then you're going to be drawing some free body diagrams. And it says draw a quantitative free body diagram. So you don't have to make it perfectly to scale, but if one force is larger than the other one, just make it clearly larger. If they're equal, you can use congruency markers to show that. So you don't have to like get out a ruler and truly scale it down to the centimeter or anything. And then it says, label the forces in newtons. To the right of each diagram, draw a velocity and acceleration vector that describes the motion of the person in the elevator. Calculate the net force and the acceleration of the person. So you will be doing some calculations and putting some of that in the box. And you see there's one box for when the elevator is at rest at the bottom of the elevator ride, and then when it starts to go up, and then when it's going up at a constant speed, and then slowing down to a stop at the top. Now these don't necessarily match the video in order, but they are the different scenarios that you would see. Okay, so they're not necessarily all in order. And then what about when it stopped at the top? What about when it's starting to go down? What about when it's descending at a constant speed? And what about when it's slowing down, approaching its stop at the bottom? Okay, so you'll draw free body diagrams for all of those. And then both assignments will be just submitted onto Axis. To help you with that, you can look up this Logger Pro data, or you can just look up the PDF form of it. And it shows you the video. If you download Logger Pro and open up the Logger Pro version, you can actually watch the video play, and so you can see how it correlates to this graphical data. If you just look at the PDF, you can't see it in action. So if you have Logger Pro or download it, that's going to give you more insight into what the video is showing you, right? So all of those things should help you fill in that video analysis document. Any questions about either assignment from you three or from our Zoom crew? All right. So actually, let me put this over here so it's not in your guys' way while you're working. We've got about 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes for you guys online. You can do them in any order. They're both just due Monday. If you're coming to class Friday for Gold Day, you do know that the feelings in the elevator, you're going to actually get a chance to do hands-on in person. So you could wait and maybe do that Friday. For those of you that won't be coming on to class Friday, whatever order you want to do them in, you can just work on them. Friday, like I said, we'll take attendance, a couple quick reminders, and then work time. It's only a 45-minute period Friday. So it's mostly just going to be check-in and then work. All right, if there are no questions, I will leave the Zoom running. If you're in the Zoom class, you're welcome to stick around, but you don't have to. You can log out and work, but I will leave the Zoom running in case you have questions. And for you guys, you can work together or on your own. We have to somewhat keep social distancing, so keep that in mind. But I mean, you can come together to talk about things, but try not to stay in close proximity for long periods of time, or have this shield between you or something as you're discussing it. Or you can just work on your own if you prefer. That's fine too. There's enough materials and papers here for all of you. And that's it. So you guys can work. You guys can work. I'll keep the Zoom running. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thanks, Mr. Webb.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So which one should we take? Should we take the